Good afternoon, everybody. It's David Perlmutter from Quantum Listing, and welcome to our Wednesday webinar. Today we have a wonderful guest. It is Melissa Swader from SVN in Arizona. Melissa is the Director of Marketing, PR, and Administration for Arizona's largest SVN brokerage. They're currently ranked number 5 in the global international SVN network. She's responsible for creating and implementing a comprehensive marketing, communications, and public relations program that enhances the organization's image and position within the commercial real estate marketplace. Melissa also facilitates all communications and public relation activities and materials, including publications, media relations, and serves as a liaison between third-party affiliations. In addition, she directs the editorial, design, production, and distribution of the organization's brand content and development. While her main objectives are focused on the quality of the marketing and company brand, she also makes sure that the organization's philosophy, mission, and vision are pertinent and practiced throughout the organization. In order to maintain strategic perspective, she also implements the appropriate systems and develops and coordinates effective procedures within the organization to create an efficient administrative platform to help support the brokerage teams. Melissa is the face and public figure behind all the SVN social media channels, press statements, and live video marketing endorsements on the SVN YouTube channel. Melissa is a graduate of Arizona State University in Tempe, Arizona, where she obtained her business license before graduating ASU with a Bachelor's of Fine Arts. She was featured in ASU's Thrive magazine in 2018. She started a marketing and design business with no initial capital investment and proceeded to expand her business by producing an exclusive business magazine where she served as the publisher, editor, and contributing writer for over a combined 20 years in the marketing and publishing industry, which is remarkable since she's just 25.
Love you, long time.
So, Melissa, thank you so much for being here and taking the time to talk with us. I'd now like to introduce Julia, who is Quantum Listing's customer success advocate, and she and Melissa work together on putting together our webinar today. And Julia, take it away. Here's Melissa, by the way.
Thank you, David.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, David. Yeah. And thank you so much, Melissa, for being here. And like David said, thank you for your time, which, speaking of time, we're going to get to that. I don't know how you have it after hearing everything.
I know,
that
that was exhausting.
So that's one of our questions that we'll get to. But again, thank you. And like David said, not only are you with SVN, but as we can see here, you've received numerous awards, which some of them that we couldn't fit on the page, you can check out on her website. I was very excited to learn about Elevate Magazine and also about your new video podcast show, Real Talk, Real Business, Real People. You have a couple of social media accounts, maybe 1 or 2, or maybe is it 10, 15? Quite a few. And we are super, super excited to learn about your new book release, which is coming out at the end of, is it this year or the beginning of next year? So we're very excited to hear more about that, or as much as you can tell us. So Melissa, my first thing that I actually would love to ask you about is just how you got the name PR Ninja. Just to start us off, I know that's your Twitter account name, and when we all met you in Las Vegas for the ICSC convention, that was kind of how you were originally introduced. There's so much more to you besides being a PR ninja, but I would love to just hear how you got that name.
Yes, well, thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate, the opportunity to talk about all the things going on here. And just really quick, we are now number 4. I saw that We just got ranked #4, so we're really excited about that.
Awesome.
But yeah, so PR Ninja. So somebody came up to me one day and they said that they saw me on other social media channels, other platforms, and it was really interesting because she says, well, I was looking at one platform and then you posted, and then I changed over to something else, and then there was another post by you, and it's like you just come out of the dark. You're like this ninja that just appears somewhere, and I'm like, I'm just the AZ PR ninja. And that was really funny because that was, a few years ago, and then I just started Twitter only a couple of years ago, I think. So I ended up using that AZ, PR ninja. So it's kind of a backstory. It's pretty funny.
Love it. Well, like I said, the ninja is something that we learned about you first, but as I got to know you better and also reading so much about you, there's plenty more. And one of the things that we're most excited to hear about, we are not going to save it for last because in case some people can't stay on the whole time, we are so looking forward to learning about this new book of yours. I know you can't tell us everything, but what can you tell us? And David, if you don't mind going to the next slide, perfect, you got it already. We'd love to hear what you're able to tell us at this point.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, this has been really exciting for me. I have always, I get a lot of these questions, of probably some of the questions that you'll be asking, and I'll save those answers for later. But, at the end of the day, there's only so much that I can sit here and tell people. Some people ask about social media, and social media is so broad, and, marketing, there's so many different pieces to marketing. I mean, anyone in marketing knows it's a balancing act between, the type of marketing that you're doing. And, I host many events. I bring small businesses together. Some involve, commercial real estate, brokers, realtors, or just small business in general. And I think it's really important because there's a lot of people in real estate that actually have other businesses. That's not even though that might be their primary, maybe source of income, there's a lot of people who have small jobs like, jewelry business or, cupcake business. And all of that is really good, but it's not the same as real estate. So, when I put it in perspective, I was really excited when I talked to my book editor out of, Reno, Nevada. And we just started discussing this book, and it's a lot of the things that I go through, that I've been through in the last 20 years. And believe me, there's a lot of things that we have all gone through, those trials and tribulations to, really, learn from the mistake from ourselves, and knowing that you can never not want to be better than your best self. And there's a lot of people that just need that kind of motivation and inspiration. And the book is really just really candid. Not gonna lie, I say on my podcast, it's not always G-rated. I can't help that. But I also want people to understand, people who see me behind the scenes or just my pictures, in the this press, release. So I want people to get to know me too, because I really care. I really have a passion for business and just entrepreneurship, and, that coupled with, the marketing industry that I absolutely love, because what it does for people, it elevates people. And that's really what my book is about. It does give, my editor, she's really great because she says that I dig through some dirt and comes out on the other side, but it's true. And I kind of talk about the dirt that I had to go through, and taking the high road into business. And I think it's kind of an upbeat tone of who I am. But it also talks about all the tackles, in life that I've had to go through as well. So, and there's some really good advice, and there's some good diagrams and some resources that I provide for anyone who's in business or in real estate, and it's all applicable, if you will. But I've had such a really large support system, especially with the media and colleagues, all over, the nation, who have really supported that. I can't be any more blessed than that.
Yeah. Well, so what is one of the pieces of advice that you can pick that are in the book that you could share with us? If you could pick one.
Never, I said this in my first episode of my podcast, and it is never let anyone tell you, no matter who you are, what business that you're in, what industry that you're in, that you cannot do something. Because at the end of the day, the person that loves, the only person that cares more about your business is you. And you will find a way. You will dig deep. It'll be cutthroat. You will take some of the leading edge approaches to make whatever you can possible. And you will align yourself with the right people, to make it possible. And that I would say that's pretty much, it's pretty cutthroat when it comes down to each chapter. And, I get right to the grind of it all. And like I said, it's not always G-rated, because I've had some people in my life that I've had to, really cut off and move forward. And, when you surround yourself by the best people, the most positive influences in your life, great things will happen to you, no matter what you're doing in your business.
Yeah, well, we really look forward to hearing more about it, and also the chance to read it once it's able to come out. Where can we stay tuned for updates on the release? I'm assuming your social media, but
you know it. Actually, my Facebook page, the @Melissa Swader AZ, is where everyone goes to. In fact, the inspiration kind of behind the podcast came from my Facebook page, because I want people to, very similar to my book, I want people to know what I do, because there's a lot of misconception on what somebody in my position actually does. And I can't say that anyone in a director position, of marketing or in PR does all the things that I do. I hope maybe that my uniqueness to, theoretically is what, separates me. But my Facebook page, you can actually see everything I'm doing. I go behind the scenes. My selfie stick is always with me. Danny knows that. You guys all know that from the ICSC in Las Vegas. I took that thing everywhere.
Yep.
So, but it was really, it's really fun to kind of see all my articles and what's going on and with the events and all the media events. And that's the best place to find it.
Awesome. What's an example of, you said, kind of like some sort of misconceptions or things people might not fully understand with regard to marketing or PR?
Yeah, I mean, PR is a different animal. I mean, I think there are some people in a position that are just in charge of marketing, and then there are some people in a position that are just in charge of public relations and the brand and news. I combine the two because, and I'm able to do that because I know everything that's going on within, let's just say, commercial real estate, for example. As a director of administration, I get all the paperwork. I see everything from the moment they're turning in their documentation and making sure that we're in compliances, making sure that the documents are right. And then I know everything about the deal. So from the very, very beginning, I'm able to build a complete marketing campaign around that specific listing. And in doing so, I'm able to, couple that with any press, releases. And as the ninja, the AZPR ninja is, I issue press statements every week, mostly a couple times a week, give or take, depending on the season. But it could be 3 to 4 press statements a week. And that helps with brand recognition. That helps with your company brand, no matter what kind of business you're in. Yeah. And I think that the misconception in PR or lack of PR is that people can only rely on social media, and that's not true. You have to use every avenue in marketing to promote your business, your services, your brand, the awareness of what your mission of your company is. And it's a comprehensive marketing strategy, if you will. And it's not as easy. There's a lot of research involved in anything that you're doing in marketing. It's research. It's journalism.
Hi, it's David. Wanted to know, are you releasing those through one of the big PR services like PR Newswire, or are you sending them directly to reporters in your market? How are you working the PR angle?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually work with them, and I work with a lot of different PR companies, national PR companies, but the local market here is, I started with maybe, I don't know, 40, media names. And over the last 5 years, almost 5 years now here at SCN, and I built my media list from scratch. I researched, I looked into, Google Insights to find out, what the best media companies are for real estate, commercial real estate, community lifestyle, depending on if I'm blogging. Perhaps maybe I can collaborate with a lifestyle writer or publication based on the type of tenant we might be representing. So I really, again, I kind of dissect every single piece of marketing that I'm doing, and I have built it. So now I have probably about, I would say about 150 media outlets that I work with, and I can probably tell you 80% of them we've done lunch. It's all about the relationship.
That's great.
So PR is a relationship business too, not just real estate, huh?
It's a relationship business, period. Like I said earlier, I really am blessed to have such a great media relationships with the local publications. And I mean, these are major publications that are well respected. And, I'm working with the Phoenix Business Journal, having that great relationship. I think also they know how hard I work. They also know all the material that I'm sending, out. I mean, I walked up to somebody and they're like, "Oh, there she is, the legend." And I said, I looked at that person like, I don't know what they're talking. This was at our SVN annual conference in New Mexico a couple of years ago, or I guess it was last year. I have to remember. I think it was last year. And there she is, the legend. And I just looked over my shoulder because I was like, okay, are you talking to me or you're pointing at me, but I don't know if you're really talking about me. And it was a really nice compliment because it was something that another managing director said from another office. And he's a very elevated managing director, in the top partner circle. And he says, we follow everything that you do. They're across the country. And I mean, that to me is why I write. Like when I hear stuff like that, somebody called me the cactus girl. They like, we refer to you as the cactus girl in our meetings. And I'm like, okay, I'll go with the, obviously being from Arizona, Phoenix, we're surrounded by cactus. So I'll take it. I'd rather be spoken about than not spoken about at all. Otherwise it's not working if I'm not impacting someone some way.
Wow. You got to add that to your Twitter name. Ninja/cactus girl.
I'll come up with something.
One of my other questions, I know you talked about some of, you gave us a little bit of advice that you have in the book, specifically for young professionals starting off, not just in marketing or PR. What advice would you have for people at the beginning of their careers?
It always goes back for me. It goes back to do your research. Building a business is hard enough, because we all have to plan, put our business plans together. And then we have to, define our strategy, create our mission statements, and then we have to, build upon that. So I would say, if anyone is coming into a new business or professionals, and in any field for that matter, make sure that you have a very, I'm trying to think of the word. I would just say, make sure that all your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed, because it's at the very, very beginning where people will start to know about your business and they will start respecting you immediately. Not that you have to prove it. It's that you're already doing things that are getting people's attention and they want to know who you are, because That's when you start surrounding yourself professionally around the people that can elevate you. I've said this. Imagine for anyone who's in business, and everyone has something that they can offer, a piece of advice, a recommendation, a resource that might help you in your business, whatever it is. And we all align ourselves with all these people, and everybody's this bright star in the universe. And then everybody's shining at their own way. And imagine if all these people are working together, the possibilities of success for everyone, because we're all collaborating with each other, it just lights up the sky. And imagine that for someone coming in a new business and meeting someone that could be a mentor, or meeting someone that, had a resource. So do your research and make sure you align yourself with the right people, positive people, real business, because those are the people that are going to help you grow organically.
Yeah. Well, that you just gave a perfect transition to one of my next questions, which was for you, who have been some of your greatest mentors just throughout the years?
I would say that never really had one mentor that worked with me. I was a very early, David, even though I'm 25, we're going to go there. Even though I started very young, I did have my business license before I had my bachelor's degree. I was a single mom who just worked my butt off to survive 18 credit hours with a 6-year-old. And so I dug very deep, very, very young, and I looked to my professors for help, along the way. I played sports my entire life. I think my high school basketball coach was probably a really big, influence to me, with just, reaching my goals in sports. And but I've learned a lot from different people. It's the ones that I keep talking about, the one in your circle, the ones I always refer to, like knowing who your tribe is. I've learned from a little piece of everything. I'm inspired by people in general, because people are very knowledgeable. They might know something that I don't. So I'm constantly a lifetime learner. I'm always evolving.
And you seem like you also like to pass that knowledge on, and be able to now have some mentees that you can kind of pass the knowledge on to. You mentioned some of your networking groups that you have quarterly as well. That really intrigued me and sounds like a great way to bring people together and share ideas. Yeah,
I actually earlier this year, I was a mentor for the Phoenix Business Journal, the national event for all the business journals had across the country back in, I think it was February. And it was women mentoring women, and I was on the seat, one of the women mentors. And it was really awesome because the women, they lined up at your table, and you got to speak to them for like 3 minutes. It was kind of like speed mentoring. They sat down, and then they moved to the next table, and then another person would come and sit down. And I loved being able to talk about, and all their businesses were so different. And there was only one person that was in real estate, and all the other ones were top level executives asking for advice, or, how do I incorporate this? How do I incorporate that as strategy or what? So even top level executives are always seeking advice from other people that are in that business, because you're always learning, you're always evolving. And the same thing with my quarterly mixers. It's not just real estate, it's small business owners and entrepreneurs, people who might be independently selling product. They want to know how, they are there to, again, build those relationships and, possibly, generate more leads through those relationships. And I think it's really important that we don't forget about personal connections in anything we do. Connect, get out there, introduce yourself.
Yeah. Well, that actually brings me to, you're doing a great job with my transitions to my questions here. I was trying to figure out where I was going from one to the next, and then you have helped me out entirely. So one of my other questions was, since a lot of us are involved in smaller businesses, and I know you just mentioned with the networking groups, when the going does get tough and you have setbacks, what's helped you persevere? I know you mentioned connecting in the networking groups, but what else has helped kind of you persevere through those setbacks or tough times?
You know, that's actually kind of goes back to what I was saying before, is that, you know, we all screw up sometimes. We all don't do the right, you know, sometimes in business, you know, we could have done it better. You know, in hindsight, we would say, oh, you know, I probably could have done it this way, or I probably could have done it that way. But when you're meeting out, you know, when you're going out there and you're networking and you're shaking those hands, and I don't mean just grabbing their business card, because that is another thing that a peeve of mine is when someone grabs a business card and they put it like, you know, in their wallet, or they just put it in their pocket. They don't even look at the card.
Yeah.
I want to look at the card and go, oh, okay, so you're in IT. So, you know, we just had an issue the other day. So do you do this? I want to know about the people that I'm talking to, because I want to remember those people. Because when you just take 10 business cards from an event and then you put them in your wallet, you have no idea who these people are. How are you going to follow up with these people? But at the end of the day, those people might be helping that setback. You know, the ones that have experience in this, or the ones that had, you know, expertise in something. You'd be like, hey, you know what? I just wanted to see if I can get some advice from you, because I know that you work in, you know, I know that you work in marketing, and, you know, this might be something, you know, it could apply to people. And I always say, when people hit that rough spot, to take a step back and just start writing things down. I had a women's entrepreneur meeting that I hosted last month, and it was a white piece of paper and a black dot. And I asked everybody, what did they see on the piece of paper? And everyone said the black dot. And I said, yes, but not one of you mentioned the white paper, all the white space around the black dot. And they just kind of looked at everybody. They were looking at each other like, oh yeah. And I said, when you focus on that black dot, those struggles, those setbacks, those, you know, the stresses that you have on a daily basis, you're not filling the void. You're not filling all the white space, that white negative space. And when you start drawing little lines and diagrams on the things that you can do to help with those setbacks, that's when you solve it. That's when you start being creative and unique and inspired. You'll find yourself inspiring yourself when you realize what stresses, what that black dot means to you. When you fill out everything else, you're going to be like, okay, I need to do this and I need to follow through. I'm stressed out about this because I keep canceling that meeting. But maybe that meeting was the end all, you know, could have been the resource that they needed, but they keep canceling. So when you have setbacks, just set back yourself and start writing things down and start looking visually at all the issues that you're coming across, and then strategically plan how to fix them, how to resolve that.
Well, thank you. That was great. I'll have to try the paper exercise next time I can with a group of people. And also, I'll remember that when you have setbacks, to set yourself back. So I appreciate that. So I know you talked briefly about your new video podcast, but we would love to hear a little bit more about, we know we can tune in on YouTube, and, you know, how this got started and how often videos come out. Would love to hear more about that.
Yes, this is really exciting. It was a couple, maybe I would say 3 months ago, where I kept getting messaged on LinkedIn, on my LinkedIn page, and I'd get these messages, hey, you know, I noticed that you're always posting and you're doing this, you know, will you be a guest on my podcast? I'd really like to pick your brain about this. And I I started thinking to myself, then it just happened so often. I thought, well, if I have y'all know I have a lot to say. Look, I could just keep talking. That's why I'm writing a book. You guys you guys don't want to listen to me talk all the time. So, yeah, the LinkedIn kind of, I was inspired by people who were actually reaching out to me who, had very specific questions about business, about marketing. And, my blog, I started a blog about 3 years ago, if not longer. It was actually called Real Talk. And it was very much about people and business and marketing and misconceptions and theories and myths that I debunk. And I just brought it live. I just brought it to the studio. I wanted a chance for everyone to see who I was and be able to listen to me and all my, ridiculous facial expressions. I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, if you all watched the first introduction video, I did this whole thing about my Brooklyn family, and my mom was the first one to text me. My mom was the first one to text me, goes, I can't believe you used that. That's our family. That's hilarious. But anyway, I was like, I wasn't throwing us under the bus, Mom. I just wanted to say, it's things that happen, and, we all are raised so differently. So some things that, roll off the tongue a little easier may not be someone's piece of cake, if you know what I mean. But the Real Talk, show for real business and real people is just bringing the latest, trends to video. And, you had mentioned earlier that I have, I'm the editor, for my magazine, and that was because of all my social media groups and pages, and I really wanted to do something for small business. And I wanted to also have a chance to let them come into the studio and talk for themselves. There's a lot of inspiring stories in business and people who deserve recognition that often get unnoticed. And I commend anyone out there who, can say thank you to just someone that sits behind a desk at the front office, or someone who is working behind the scenes to put together, I don't know, an event for you that you're being featured at. It's stories like that people really want to connect to. And for me, it's, I just feel like everybody needs someone who can help elevate them. And if that means bringing them into my studio or talking about certain questions I get on social media, then I want to do that for people, just so if anything, they can learn a little bit. Yeah. From just, from my own stories and from my own experiences over the last 20 years. And they're published every Wednesday. Actually, I just posted my audio. So that can be listened to on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and several others. And my video version will be going up in a few hours. So
well, stay tuned. We'll maybe include a link to it in the recording for this webinar.
And I also have to make sure that we add it to crepodcasts.com, our directory of commercial real estate podcasts and video channels.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. What?
So it was funny when I was going to figure out this next question that I was wanting to ask you. I found this comment from Linda Day Harrison, and I felt like I had to just take it exactly how she wrote it, because she asked exactly what I wanted to know, which was, she said, and Linda wanted to join us, but she has a conflict, so she'll watch the recording. But she had commented on your video, I would be interested to learn how you do so much. You have so many projects and websites and social media accounts. How do you do it all? Time management would be a great show. So thank you, Linda, for that question that we now can finally find out the answer to.
Yes, that is a great question. And I love Linda. You guys, if you're all in real estate, the broker list, make sure you guys follow her. She's been kind of actually, if I had to say anything, the first person I actually met or actually had conversations with was Linda from the broker list, because when I just got into the real estate, she had reached out to me, and I love that because she made the initiative, she was really proactive about it. And now you look back 5 years later and, you know, we have these such great relationships, and I just love that. But, you know, I get that question a lot. I think I might have mentioned that to you earlier, Julia. And if I did not have a calendar, I am a planner. And everything I do is my calendar looks like a beautiful, colorful rainbow because it's just lit up with different colors. And with social media, going back to the whole ninja, there are very different, like people like to post to HubSpot, and, you know, you just post once and then it goes out to all your channels. I liked original content on every single channel. And so I actually pre-plan my scheduling, and I design very unique content, whether it be video clips or you know, graphic designed ads or quotes or something of the same product or the same announcement, because I like to be on Twitter today, I using one image, and I like to be on Facebook using another image, and then I use my press statement that talks about those things. But I'm planning, and I have a very, very disciplined time management and production schedule. Everything is by time, and I'm able to do all of what I'm doing, like my podcasting. I designate a certain time. I'm in the studio, you know, certain time limit. Literally, I'm like, 5 minutes, I got to get out of here, because in 30 minutes, I've got to work on the magazine, or 45 minutes, I've got to get a press statement out. So it's crunch time all the time. But honestly, I don't ever feel too rattled, because I'm used to following my schedule. And if you can get into that discipline of not letting people sidetrack you, then you'll always get done what you set out to do.
It sounds to me like you're indistractable, which I'm going to give a little plug for a webinar that we're doing at the end of October with Nir Eyal, who is the author of a new book called Indistractable. And he seems to advocate exactly what you've put into practice, which is really structuring your day so that, you know, you're not leaving things to random chance, and you know, you're not in the middle of a project and then checking Facebook and then checking email and then going back to the project. So it's nice to hear that you know, his method is something that you've internalized even without reading his book.
You know, it's really true. There was I think at the SVN conference last year, there was a woman who received, you know, Partner Circle Award, and I think she spoke, you know, just a few minutes on the award, and she says, I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I work out, I check my emails at 7 to 8 o'clock, I respond, I have an hour to respond to everybody. At 9 o'clock, I jump on the phone, I do my cold calls. From 11 to 2 o'clock, I tour. You know, it was very, very specific. And I'm thinking, like, you know, amen, sister, because I could relate to that in a lot of ways, because I am juggling, you know, commercial real estate. I'm juggling my podcast. I'm juggling, you know, my quarterly events, and I'm, you know, juggling the magazine. I put in a lot of work, but the reward for me is watching everything unfolding and watching all these people that I'm associated to get their names out there. That's the biggest reward for me, is, you know, being able to help somebody else and make a difference.
Well, we appreciate that. I know I'm really excited for, we would love to have you on that webinar at the end of October. And I look forward to reading his book and then your book, lots of books to read. And I know for me, being my second year out of college, I know I can definitely learn a lot on time management. I have always been okay with it. Like you, I was always playing a lot of sports, so I had to be on top of things. But I think going from school to the professional world, it's different because for me especially, I you can't always control the phone calls that you get. You call someone, you don't know when they'll call you back. You don't know when someone's going to email you back. So I look forward to just focusing more on improving my time management with regard to all of that.
Yeah, I think it's just really important for people to really look at, and there's, if there are people out there that just, put stuff in their head, oh, I have to be some here, you're going to forget. And, there's plenty of calendar apps, if you have your phone with you, there's plenty of calendar apps. And I know that within the SVN office, they use Pipedrive. And that works really well for them because they can put all their listings, all their calendar, their dates, what's due, deadlines. It's very similar to what I do. But I tried to never miss a deadline. And that is like ultimately my goal in marketing is I can never miss a deadline because, today's news is yesterday, is tomorrow's old news.
Right.
So I have to get out.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I just have to get out, I have to get that information out. I can't, I talk to the advisors, especially when it comes to like listing transaction news or deals that we've just closed. It's, I say, get it to me in 48 hours. A week from now, I've already written 3 press statements and yours is just old news.
Yeah.
So, if they want their names out there, if, advisors, anyone who's in a position like mine, it's hard because advisors don't like change, but unless you implement a very strict policy on marketing, you're just going to sit here and wait around because those people that you just talked to, you were just talking about, Julia, like you never know when the phone calls are coming in. That can easily be an influence in me not getting the information or the lack of attention to what I need in order to help them. And they're busy making money and it's a two-way street. So I understand where they're coming from, but for me, I still have those deadlines. So if you're not sending in the information, then you just get past it. So the question is if the advisors are out there and they want their names in the paper, your director of marketing and PR is your best friend.
How far in advance do you plan out your calendar? I know obviously sometimes you probably have to make changes on the go, but how far does your planning go in advance?
Well, for example, we just did a huge PR campaign, a marketing PR campaign for the $40 million mixed-use development out in Mesa. And it's a combination of retail and two phases of retail and restaurant, strip, center type thing. And then behind it is an office or offices. And then behind that is actually a multifamily property, all combined to just a wee bit of $40 million and over the next, 3 years. But I actually planned all the designs about maybe 2 weeks in advance. I got everything ready because I go live at the event. So I was at the groundbreaking ceremony and me and my selfie stick, I'm like out there, taking videos and, hey, this is Melissa going live here at, Chrisman Gateway Village. And, I do my thing. And then I'm ready, already have those images saved to my phone so I can post while I'm there and everything is live. Everything is real time. And I plan that and the press goes out after the publication and I have everything ready to go. So it's a lot of pre-planning and if you do that, it's effective. If you wait until the last minute to do things like that or then it may not come out because you don't know your objectives or you don't know who your audience is going to be. Comes down to research and journalism.
Well, I know you said one of the other questions you get asked a lot is people wonder what programs you use when they see the different social media posts on different platforms. I know you kind of already answered this a little bit, saying that you like to not have everything be the same on each platform, but are there other programs that you use or?
Yeah, so I use Creative Cloud. That's my best friend in my world. I use anything from Photoshop to Illustrator. My videos are all done through Premiere. Some of my graphics are done in After Effects. And believe me, Adobe is such a beautiful platform. but it is a matter of really training and how to use those and how to really understand each of the programs, you know, and how you can incorporate them in and how you have to format them in a certain way so you can use, you know, in your videos. And, you know, so there's a lot of training and education involved, but you know, you can go anywhere to, you know, get those formal trainings. And believe me, YouTube is everyone's best friend when it comes to tutorials these days. And I would say, like, for social media, if there's anyone out there that, you know, has just smartphones, there's so much opportunity with just downloading these apps. You know, these design apps are coming out with so many, and I think I use several, you know, and I just sit here sometimes, you know, when I'm home on the couch and I have everything ready and I'm watching TV and I'm just designing, you know, these quick ads, you know, quick. If I wasn't doing that, I'd never get it done. And believe me, that's actually in my, it'll be like CSI and design apps. I've got to get some downtime in, but you have like Ripple for Business, TikTok, PC Express, Pixaloop. I love Pixaloop because it's, you know, you take a photo, but you can add motion to still images. So the clouds might be moving, or the water might be moving, or the carousel might be moving, whatever you're taking a picture of. I've even done videos on the iMovie, right that comes with your, you know, your smartphone, your iPhone. Yeah. So it's just that it's just time consuming. So the ability to create great content or unique visual content is how much time you want to put into these little small experiences, you know, of taking the time to do, you know, using these phone apps. But I would say that everything is unique, and more people will start noticing your particular style, and that's what marketing is.
Awesome. So I took a screenshot of some of your social media platforms, but I had to put it onto 2 different slides. So I know you said you have a few Facebook groups. So these are the first 3, or no, are these, do you mind walking us through these?
Yeah, so the Addicted to Anthem Studying Community, that is a social media closed group that I created up in the North Valley here in Phoenix. And it was designed to, as a positive forum. I don't allow any negativity at all. I don't allow any advertising at all, but I always encourage people to give shout outs, referrals, resources. There's about 60, maybe 6,600 people on that group.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's really nice, and I love it because there's such these members, you know, these people, they show such grace and support to people in times of need. And I you know, I love resources like that. And believe me, if you needed an electrician in your home area or any for your commercial spot, you know, 40 recommendations would come up. And that's what I love about that group. And then Anthem AZ community just is about news. It's more news oriented, so it's strictly about, you know, news, what's going on. I posted a picture of our lightning. I think you guys might have seen that on Twitter.
Yeah.
I posted that on the Anthem AZ community page, and it was shared 36 times in a matter of an hour and a half. So news travels fast. See, that was visual engagement. It's like we don't get storms like this in Phoenix. So to have, you know, a tornado in Phoenix, it's very interesting, and people like interesting things. Yeah. And the Anthem Exchange has about 23,000 people now, and it's just a buy-sell group. When
was that one started?
This was actually started maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And it's a fun fact. I don't know if you can read that, but does everybody have Swip Swap, you know, in your states or in your cities?
I do not know
the
about
one
Swip
that
Swap. What is it?
You do or don't?
No, we don't.
Okay, so some states have these Swip Swap pages where you can just, you know, buy and sell items, you know, household or whatever, cars, anything.
Oh yeah.
And so the first Swip Swap ever in Arizona was the page that I was gifted, and now I rebranded to Anthem Exchange, but it was the first ever Swip Swap in the state of Arizona. So, and now it has about 22,000 members on there. So everyone's making money, just posting their items and selling, and people are buying. I get about maybe 14,000 engagements every few weeks.
Wow.
All right,
That's
do we
very
mind going to the, oh, there we go. Even more, here we go.
Elevate, yes. So Elevate Magazine is my business page. And then my website is right next to it, our website. And I also have corresponding website to the same business page, the one I was talking about, the sharing, that also has a website. So I have about 4 websites and 6 or 7 social media groups or pages combined. And that's not including like Instagram or Twitter or anything like that. These are just between Facebook and website. They all serve a different purpose, and that's what, you know, a lot of, you know, everybody needs to know is when you are on social media, every platform serves a different purpose, and to make sure your content is designed for that purpose.
Yeah, that's great, because then people aren't, you're not wasting people's time with posts that aren't relevant to what they're interested in.
Correct.
All right, well, I wrote in the chat box, I don't know if it came up, if anyone else has any questions, feel free to ask them in the box, or also feel free to unmute yourself and join our conversation. We welcome anybody. I'll give a couple of minutes in case anyone has any questions or just comments or wants to say hi. Anybody?
And if you want to get in touch with Melissa Swader,
Several ways.
yes, this screen has all, or many, I wouldn't say it's comprehensive, many of the ways in which you can reach out to her, depending on what your interest. What is the Ruby Red Media all about?
That is actually my marketing company. I've owned a marketing and design PR business for 20 years. That was my original business that I started back when I was at ASU. You know, I was actually a fine arts major. You know, I was in photography, and I graduated with a photography degree. But in between all my classes, it was great because I could take all my, you know, Adobe classes and my design classes and use those projects as a way to design material for my business. And my professors were really kind because they were trying to help me in my business using the programs for my assignments. And I learned honestly from my professors. But over the years, they went from photography to graphic design to PR, marketing, to advertising. So I have done everything you can think of over the 20 years. And it's from each year has always brought me something new. If you really look back on your career, anyone can look back on their career, there's always one milestone per year that you've achieved. And again, my tagline back then on my first business cards was helping you build your business. That was my tagline, and I'm still doing that today. So I love the fact that I can use marketing or, you know, any experiences that I have, you know, or continue to learn to help other people. And that's where Elevate got its name for the magazine.
Yeah, I love that name. I think it's really great, and you know, it's positive, it's uplifting, it's a great message.
Yes, it is. I concur.
I believe
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just believe I believe that if more people spent in the world being kinder and more, you know, showing more humility in leadership and helping, you know, other people succeed, it will never take away from your success. Yeah. But you will gain such reward in helping others succeed. And I know people may feel threatened by somebody else's success, but I can guarantee you, when you see somebody, you know, you see yourself helping somebody and then they did what they wanted to do, it feels so great to see how happy you've made somebody with just a few inspiring, words or support that you can offer somebody. So I truly encourage that for anyone out there looking to build your circles. You give what you get. Believe that.
I think you're right. And I want to just read one of the comments that was posted by Nancy Bush, which is, she's saying, thank you for today and the joy you're sharing. So spreading joy is a pretty amazing thing. So thank you, Nancy, for that beautiful remark. And of course to you, Melissa, for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom and your joy.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here, and I really appreciate the opportunity you guys gave me. And thank you all who joined as well. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks to everybody. Melissa, we've been asking you lots of questions. Do you have any questions for the group or for us? We want to give you the opportunity to have the tables turned.
Yeah, I would just ask anyone, is there something very specific that they've been struggling in? Most people who are in marketing may come across things that they're struggling more, in. And if that's the case, maybe we can all help, answer that question on this marketing call.
I think the hardest.
And maybe
oh, go ahead.
Hi, Danielle.
Go ahead, Danny.
Hi, Danny.
Yeah, no, I think the hardest part is the internal collaboration. I find that that's my biggest challenge. I'm constantly wasting many man hours trying to communicate with all the departments and not receiving any. So I have to kind of move on my own and continue with what I know. But it gets frustrating. It really does.
And that's what I was saying earlier. We only have a certain amount of time to get the information from somebody. So there really needs to be an implemented policy somewhere in your operating procedures that, the advisors or whoever your department is, they only have a certain amount of time to get the information in, or they will miss that window. I know that might seem harsh, but not with the objectives that you have in mind. And I know, Danny, I've seen your work. You're doing some of the app designs. I see that you're starting to do that, and it's great because you're engaged in visual material. And if those people don't realize the significance of getting your name out there, then their objectives are not the same as yours. And I get the same question: why is this person always in the news? Because they get me the material.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
yeah.
they're doing deals. I can't write about anything. A lot of people be like, hey, can you write a press statement on me? I'm like, about what? Like, I can't make news up. There's got to be news to share or blog information to share. There's plenty of opportunity to write blogs and, distribute them to my media contacts, and they'll figure out which category, they can publish this in. But, I stand true to myself that I will only write about real people, real business, and being real about it. Authenticity matters to me. I research, everything is factual, and if I can put this in a positive light and share that news, then I hope that will help somebody else in some way.
Yeah, it's been a struggle for me, but I'm putting Deal Point Merrill out in the limelight there. But I finally realized after a period of time of trying to engage with the Deal Point Merrill, I put my own name out there and start engaging, which has helped me a lot to promote the company as well, with my visuals and videos and engaging, with a variety of people that, and also Google Photos. I mean, I have such a huge amount of Google Photos up there, and to get 100,000 hits off of my photos is just amazing. That helps a lot too. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Somebody
You're a rock star, Melissa.
Someone told me that if you want to get something done, ask a busy person to. I think Danny and Melissa, you both qualify as people who get things done, and I know how busy.
Well, I have yellow caution tape around my desk, so no one can cross that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just totally kidding. Did you guys get the visual, the caution tape?
That's great.
Do
So,
not cross.
yeah, I want to thank you, Melissa, and for your time today and all the preparation you put into this, and to Julia for your help in coordinating today. I also want to just give a plug to some of our upcoming webinars. October 2nd, that's next Wednesday, we have quantum listing for build-out users. Build-out is one of our syndication partners, and we want to talk a little bit about the interface between the two and what build-out folks should be doing on our site. Then we're off, I think, October 9th for the Jewish holiday. October 23rd, we have a return engagement by Kent Fitzpatrick to talk about tax strategies for real estate professionals. October 30th, the aforementioned Nir Eyal, author of Indistractable, How to Control Your Attention and Choose Your Life. I think it was #1 on the business books on Amazon last week. So Nir's kind of somebody you don't want to miss. November 6th, we have Advances in Commercial Real Estate Research with Liz Berthollet of Newmark Knight Frank in Boston. And on December 4th, we have our first blockchain webinar, Real Estate Tokenization and the Future of Real Estate Financing with Yael Tamar. So a lot of good stuff coming up. Thank you again, everybody, for your time today, and we hope to see you again in future webinars.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye.
Thanks, Mina.
Bye-bye.